I can be successful, and it sounds so funny to say now, and I can have what I want without it appealing to the masses. I decide what makes me happy and what makes me successful to the world, and as long as I like it, that's all that matters. Hello, my beautiful friends. Welcome back to Too Smart for This. It's your host, Alexis Barber. I am excited to be recording. I took a minute to recover from my MS infusion that I had this past week. And also we had midterms. It was just a busy October after our event, which was so great. But I'm excited to be back on the mic and back with some more content for you guys, because I have been loving how much you guys are enjoying the podcast, and I've been loving the new approach I have to content creation. And today I kind of want to talk about what has helped me drive that approach. And yeah, so we're gonna have some fun today. So it is in terms of my personal life updates, which we'll start with for a quick moment just to ground you in where I'm coming from. It's the first week of the second half of the first semester. Can you keep up with that? Probably don't know, but I have new classes going on right now. We just came off a week of a fall break, which if you guys remember last year, this is the week that I went to South Africa because we didn't have classes last year. This year I stayed back and worked on 2 collective stuff and was doing all my medical stuff. I have literally been in New York City every single weekend for the past month since school started, and it looks like I'm going to be there the next at least 2 weekends, so that'll be crazy. I do feel a little weird because I'm not traveling as much this year, and I feel a little bit of FOMO because of that, but at the same time, it's like everything I'm doing here are things that I want to be doing and things that I care about, so I don't feel as much FOMO, if you know what I mean. But as you guys heard in the last episode, I want to keep myself accountable and help give you guys ideas and inspiration and stuff oh my God, Alexa, stop. Please, everybody needs to chill out. As I said before, I really want to keep you guys updated on my 4 types of rest and how I'm implementing it every week to give you inspo before we jump into the episode. So we'll get started with that. So I need to be chill. I feel like I've told you guys, it's such a conscious effort for me to get into being myself instead of showing up as influencer, podcaster Alexis. So here I am trying to sink into myself right now. But starting with my 4 types of rest. So rejuvenation was key for me this past week, and this came in the form of really taking care of my physical health, because obviously I had my infusion last week, so my physical health is more on my mind. And so I meal prepped this past weekend, and I made myself my lunches for the week, and I made myself a soup and a dinner. I made butternut squash soup. I vlogged it, so you guys can see that when it comes up on the vlogs. And I really just made that commitment of there is no reason that I shouldn't be nourishing myself as much as I can, and taking that little bit of time just makes such a difference in my week. So that is something that I know that the holidays, this period of the year gets so freaking busy and insane, and it's so easy to throw your physical health out the window. But after I just was reminded after my MS appointment and being focused on my health, that our health is really all we have, and the second you lose it, everything comes into perspective. I personally just was reinvigorated into wanting to take care of my physical health. So another way I'm doing that is that I'm going back to weightlifting, and that is something I did a lot in college and that I did a lot when I was living in New York, but I've just not really had time, and I've been intimidated in doing it here in New York, here at school. And also ever since I've gone through my weight loss journey, I haven't done weightlifting since then. And so I'm a lot weaker than I was before when I weighed a little bit more. And so I was a little nervous about that, but I just like how it makes me feel. And I just feel when you look at the science of body composition, building muscle is so important. And I feel like I've been losing muscle because I have just been doing light weights for the past like year and a half. So back on weightlifting, back on meal prepping, getting my 100+ grams of protein in, and lifting heavier. Those are my 2 rejuvenation things. And so I'll try to keep the other ones shorter and sweeter. For connection, I'm just really excited to get back to school, hanging out at school every day. I'm going to have a little like wine night catch up with some of my girlfriends this week, and I'm prioritizing catching up and building the relationships that I already have at school instead of, you know, like last year where I was just saying yes to everything to meet everybody. So there's that. Then with rejuvenation, connection, for pampering and indulgence, I don't know that I have a perfect one for this, but I did do a little shopping over the weekend, and I have not shopped in a long time to buy like clothes for stuff, just because like I used to shop a ton last year, but this year I've just been like, I have so much in my closet, I have so much in my house, like I can't shop. But I did make a really intentional list of the things that I wanted for fall, and I shopped specifically for those. So I did this by making a Pinterest board of like the outfits and the vibe that I wanted for fall winter, and then I looked through it all and I thought about it for a while, and I found the few pieces I felt like I didn't have / needed. I also switched out my closet this weekend, and I put in all my sweaters and stuff and put all my summer stuff away, and so I could see what I had and what I didn't have. And so I made an intentional shopping list and I found everything. The thing I'm most excited about are my new low-rise dark wash jeans that I got from Reformation. They're my first Reformation jean purchase, and that was sort of how I pampered myself this weekend so that I could start to feel a little bit like myself, you know what I mean? Because I feel like I'd been stuck in like the summer-ish character of Alexis. And so, and I got braids, as you can see. And I was like, I want to feel a little bit more empowered and like focused. I was like, for this half of the semester, by the time the semester ends, I'm going to turn 26. It's going to be my 26th birthday. And I am going to announce my book in this time. I'm going to have all these classes. I have all this work that I want to do in the Startup Accelerator this semester. I was like, I just really want to focus right now. So I got braids, because y'all know when you get braids, you focus. You have to work out. You have to look good every day. Like it's just natural. And I also feel my hottest in braids. So yeah, love to see it. Rest, rejuvenation, pampering, or rotting. When am I going to rot this week? Good question, guys. I actually am waiting to figure out if I need to go into New York Thursday night, or if I'm going into New York Thursday night into Friday, because I have a work event on Friday with LinkedIn, which is exciting. I'm working with them this month. And I am debating if I'm going to stay for a date on Friday night or not. And whether or not I do depends on when I'm going to rot on Saturday, because I'm going to have work to do for sure, but I'm also I have to study for a midterm that's next Monday. So I don't know when I'm going to rot. So hold me accountable. Message me. If you don't see me posting, hopefully I'm rotting. All right, now I want to get into the meat of today's episode. And so I've been really liking recording these in real time, because I feel like you guys can tell when I'm experiencing the lesson that I'm sharing with you in real time, because like it feels like it's coming from a more aligned place, I feel like. So something that I was ruminating out on a lot this past week was the concept of why I want certain things. And because a lot of my, obviously, life, which I say this every episode, has been dictated on like, what do other people think? And that was like a survival mechanism that really worked for me for a long time. And I think have built up this reputation of like, she's strong, she's a hard worker, she's this, she's that, she's really smart, which I am, all of those things. But now that I have that reputation, it's like, okay, is that fulfilling to me? Like, now that you have the reputation that you said you wanted, and nobody can say you're not smart because you did all these things, you've like got it. It's like, now when we're now looking at the next step of life, where I'm not going to have the structure of school anymore, I'm not going to have like these external pressures, I'm not going to work in a corporate environment, I really decide what's success and what's not success, and I really decide what makes me happy and what doesn't. It's all up to me. And I recognized this because, truthfully, over the summer, did a lot of work on the back end of 2 Collective, getting it to be a real sustainable business. I was working with my burnout coach, Michelle, and we got to the end of our sessions. We were like 2 weeks into school at this point, and I was like, Michelle, like, it's all there. The systems are all there, but 2 things aren't there. One, the branding doesn't feel like it aligns with me anymore. And you guys can tell I've been transitioning the 2 Collective branding, and I'm having so much fun with it. So we got that under control. But also, like, I have everything for me, and this is in my personal career as an influencer too. I have everything laid out in front of me, and I don't want to do it. And Michelle, and she's also since published a great episode about this, but on her podcast, The 12th House with Holisticism. But she was like, well, maybe you need to interrogate like why you want the things that you want. And because I could tell you exactly what I wanted for 2 Collective, X amount of sales, X amount of press features, this, and this, impressions, whatever, ads, whatever, conversion rate, whatever. But why? And I think I started my why for 2 Collective as 1, I just wanted the better fucking product. That was honestly like the truth of it when it started. And then 2, I had these inflated dreams of what I wanted my reputation to be this like innovative entrepreneur. And a lot of that like was left over from the girl boss days that I grew up in college looking at, like the Emily Weiss, and obviously I'm in business school now, so female entrepreneurship and sort of idolizing that. And I also had this vision of being this influencer that I wanted to be, which I have always really struggled to admit I truly want because of all the stigma that's surrounding it, and also because of all of the privacy it takes away from you, and how much like, what if people hate me or whatever, and I don't like being perceived that much, I need to be a hermit all the time, and being always on is hard. Like, as you guys can hear in my voice and in the way I'm describing this, the goals that I was saying out loud that I wanted to accomplish, I was having trouble executing because I had all of these unresolved questions and all of these unresolved sentiments about why I wanted them. And I also was afraid to kind of admit, and I said this to Michelle on the call, that what I really wanted was respect. And Michelle was like, girl, I've been there, obviously. And what happens when you get the respect? You feel like you're supposed to get something when you get the respect of people that you're so dying to be, in with or whatever. Like, at the end of respect, what do you really want? For me, the answer to that was safety. And I that's when I recognized that I was associating this idea that I have this good reputation or that I was perfect with the fact that I would be safe, because if I'm perfect, then nobody can harm me. We learned in a couple episodes back on one where about perfectionism, we've talked about this before, like being perfect does not save you. It in fact makes you a target for a lot of people. And so people try to villainize and humble you. We've been down this road before. Go back and listen. I'll leave the episode where we talked about this in the show notes. So if I'm chasing all of this respect, 1, from who? 2, why? And I started interrogating why I wanted everything I wanted. And this is something we're going to get into how to do, but what I first want to say is that what really helped me in doing this was also what Michelle gave me permission to do here, which is want something for the sake of wanting it. Just because I wanted to have that experience is reason enough that I'm allowed to want it. I do not have to want things because they're better for the planet, because they'll make all of humanity great, or because they're serving other people, or because they'll make me a better person. I can want things and have them just because I want to have that experience. So if I did want to become a, big celebrity influencer just because I wanted to, that's okay. It doesn't have to be so that I can serve the greatest people in the world or so that I can reach this level of personal fulfillment. It's okay to just want things because you want them. And I was happy. I was so happy when I got to experience that, because it allowed me to just really interrogate the sort of superficial things that I wanted, and get a lot clearer on A, who I want to be talking to with this podcast and with all of my content. And B, it helps me realize that I can be successful, and it sounds so funny to say now, and I can have what I want without it appealing to the masses and without it like basically legitimizing me. Like, it sort of just reminded me, like, I decide what makes me happy and what makes me successful to the world, and as long as I like it, that's all that matters. And then I came across this really amazing quote on TikTok that I need to find the author. I'll put it in the show notes. The quote goes, "I've already settled it for myself, so flattery and criticism go down the same drain." And this resonated so much because if I already like what I'm putting out, I like how I'm showing up, I like my outfit, I like my music taste. If you like it too, great. Maybe we can kiki about it. If you don't like it, I really don't care. But neither of them are going to influence where I stand. And that is something that if you over rely on flattery from others or compliments from others or external validation from others to prove that you are in the spot you want to be standing in, as soon as it goes away, you're not going to want to be there anymore. And if you are overly, afraid of criticism, you're going to be standing in the same place. And if you take too much of that criticism and you move around because you just care about what's out here instead of where you're standing, when it all goes away, are you happy with where you're standing or not? And I loved thinking about this, although it was so hard because it requires you breaking away from and asking yourself the question of like, Alexis, what would it mean if like you weren't an influencer at all anymore? Or if you didn't have a business at all anymore? Like, what if you stripped all of this back? Like, do you like where you're standing? And why do you want to be standing there? And what do you want out of it? And I really took the time to dig into like, what's the point of all of this? And part of it is because I'm good at it, and part of it is because I love it. But when I look at my day or my career, what I want to do for the next, 5, 10, 20, 15 years, I was able to get really clear on what exactly I wanted that to be. And was also okay with the fact that one, like I wanted it, yes, originally because I wanted to be liked by people and because I wanted to be respected. But the core of why I continue to do it is because I love creating. And it's because I want to connect with people and not because I want to get to 1 million downloads. Like if that's your driver, if that's the reason you want to do something, the way you're going to show up and do it is completely different than the way you show up when creation and connection is at the forefront of what you want to produce. Because if you just want 1 million downloads, I just make a clickbaity episode and like we just get 1 million downloads, like you can figure that out. But if you are doing it for the sake of creation and growing alongside my audience and being a self-care podcast that doesn't preach at you, I feel like then that's so much more of a reason and so much more of a connected reason to create. And it doesn't mean that I don't want the accolades and the accomplishments and the opportunities that come with this, but it means that like that's not the core reason for why I'm doing it. So I think that when you're thinking about what people think of you and who's going to judge you for doing what or whatever, I would encourage you on a daily basis now to sit and think about that quote, which is, I've already decided it for myself. So the criticism and the flattery go down the same drain. Once you've settled it for yourself, where do you stand? And this requires what I would do, which is what I did over the past week, sitting down with my goals and asking myself why, and getting to the deeper root of why I wanted each of those things. And then from that point on being like, okay, if I'm going to do this and this is what's going to make me happy, this is the feeling that I'm searching for, I'm going to find that in other ways in my life. I'm going to find that today. I'm going to focus on finding that feeling. And that's what I'm going to focus on instead of I'm doing it so that I can get that validation or that feeling from something else. And I really honestly have felt so much freer and calmer since then. Of course, every day I still wake up in a sense of anxiety and a sense of freaking out about what's going wrong or what I could be doing or that I could be doing better, my to-do list or whatever. But I come back to this at least once throughout the day, and I remind myself that I don't have to hit these numbers or get to this next level of external success. That's no longer what is driving me. What's driving me is making sure that I'm aligned with standing where I want to stand in the world. And it's so much calmer, even though now my standards for myself are so high because I'm so excited about stuff. They're not driven by other people's. So I hope this quote resonates. I would encourage you to journal and encourage you to think about this from time to time. I've been posting daily ambitious material girl inspiration on our Instagram stories and on our TikTok. So if you want some mood boards, some vibes to help you with this, go follow us there. Don't forget to shop the Too Chill robe. I'm loving it. It's so comfortable and the girls are loving it. It's selling really fast. And I love you so much. Don't forget, you're too smart to not love yourself, and I will see you next week.